Hello guys and welcome back. Today I wanted to start this video with a quick story. A long time ago I was working in the field as an electrician. I've always worked with my hands and I was in the electrical field. I worked my way up to being a foreman and eventually I wanted to transition into the office. I felt like I really wanted more of a challenge and I hadn't done anything in the office yet, so I landed a job at a different company than the one I was working for as a project engineer, which is pretty entry level, and it was an inside job. It was a desk job, an office job. My entire life I had dressed in Red Wing work boots, a flannel shirt, and Carhartt jeans. That was my uniform. That was what I wore. And here I am being thrust into a business casual environment. I wasn't really sure how to go about it. What I did know is that I didn't want to go full Gucci loafers and Brooks Brothers head to toe. I wanted to bring a little bit of my history of where I came from into what I was wearing. So I wanted to find a decent boot that looked good, you know, in meetings in the office, and I could also wear out to walkthroughs on jobs or site visits, and something that could pull dual purpose. The first thing I saw was an ad for the Red Wing Iron Rangers, and I thought, that's exactly what I want. Nice slim silhouette, not a big bulbous safety looking toe. They will be able to work well in the office and in the field when I need to go on a short walk or something like that. Now, quick disclaimer, if you have to wear safety boots or safety toe or a steel shank or whatever that job requires as protective equipment, make sure you follow their PPE guidelines. That's just a quick disclaimer for those of you who might be working for OSHA out there who want to nail me. So I fell in love with the Red Wing Iron Rangers. I went to the Red Wing store, I tried them on, and unfortunately came to the realization that they wouldn't really work very well in the office. They had a bit of a bulbous toe compared to what everybody else was wearing, and I didn't want to be the one guy, especially coming from the field, who decided to wear his Red Wing mock toes with a pair of chinos or something like that. Just wasn't going to work out, unfortunately. So what I ended up getting was, to this day, still my favorite pair of boots, the Allen Edmonds Old and Walled, which are sadly discontinued, but they didn't have that bulbous toe. So the reason I tell you that story is because the picture of those Red Wing Iron Rangers brought to mind what I wanted in a boot and really just chased for a long time. I hadn't found it exactly yet until Taft came out with their Dragon boot, which looked exactly like the picture I had in my mind of the boot that I wanted to wear, which could easily do dual purpose. It's a casual boot. It's not a work boot, but it's not a dress boot. It's somewhere in between, and I just think they really, really nailed it. So we're going to go down the list on this boot, what it's made out of, all that good stuff, and ended up with the pros and cons because there are a few cons. But let's start in the beginning with the construction. These are made of a waxed suede. They have a Danite sole. They have a 360-degree Goodyear welt. They are made in Portugal. They have waxed laces and aged gold hardware. That's really it. These are dead simple, and I think that's part of the appeal. Let's talk a little bit more about that waxed suede. Perfect example, the other day I went to the Articles of Style grand opening in Manhattan. It was raining on the way down there. A storm came through, and I wore these. I made the conscious decision to wear these to walk the 2 miles from Grand Central to where their store was located, and I got rained on. I wasn't worried about my boots. As a matter of fact, my feet stayed dry. Now, I'm not telling you that you're going to want to go wear these, you know, splashing through puddles or when it's actually raining out and you say, well, I have to pick a pair of shoes that's going to be waterproof. These are really more water resistant. If you find yourself caught in the rain somewhere, you don't have to worry. And they performed the task absolutely beautifully. They were the perfect choice in footwear to wear down there. You're really not going to get a better testament to their water resistance than that. Now, these are available in whole sizes only, which is the way that Taft does things. I do wish that they would offer a few different widths and maybe some half sizes in there. That would be really good, but I understand why they don't do it. That way, they don't have a size 6 triple E width sitting on a shelf somewhere that is really only going to fit such a small portion of the population. I know there are plenty of guys out there who would love to rock these boots, but they have hard to fit feet. So I wish one thing that Taft would do in the future is look into doing some half sizes and different widths. Now, as far as break-in period goes, I had none. These were comfortable out of the box. I was able to put them on, wear them all day. There are no hot spots, no issues with rubbing. Like I said, I got a 9 when I'm a 9.5, and they really just fit very well out of the box. I know a few people have had issues with breaking these boots in, but I think the fact that the leather isn't super duper stiff helps with that comfort right out the gate. And that's a nice thing to be able to put your shoes on and just go. Now, one thing I think we can all agree on is they absolutely nailed the design on these boots. These are gorgeous. They're just perfect. They're a great combination of sleek silhouette, but also staying true to looking like they might be a work boot. I don't know. Something about them really speaks to me, and I think that they couldn't have done any better. If I had to design a boot, I think that this is the silhouette that I would go with. I love them. I absolutely love them. Now, there's a couple of things that I think really help them nail that design. Number one, they put a cap toe on it, and that really helps add a little bit of visual weight to the toe of your boots, especially when they have a more slim toe box, which these have. Luckily, that takes them out of the, work boot steel toe kind of look and more into the dress shoe look, which is just where these fall perfect. That really worked out well. So they offset that slim toe with a cap toe. The other thing that they did is they used a Danite sole, so they were able to get a nice thin sole, but not unusable. Sometimes you get these leather soles and you're carpet surfing for quite a while before you get to use them. The Allen Edmonds Olden Walds that I mentioned before, there was quite a while I had to go through to really scuff up those leather soles to get them to really grip on stuff. I'm so glad that they went with these, and a true Danite sole compared to the rip-offs, there's a big difference. The lugs are set deeper in Danite soles rather than like a Thursday Boots rip-off. I think that they're made out of harder compound, so the rubber will last a little bit longer, but that was another thing that they just nailed. They did so well. And finally, that 360-degree Goodyear welt is nice and closely cropped to the shoe. So a lot of times you'll see a lot of Japanese brands or companies like Grant Stone, they have quite a pronounced lip that goes around the entire shoe. And some people like that, some people don't. It's really hot in Japan right now to have that. Matter of fact, you'll see a double row of stitching going around the outside, but they've kept this nice and closely cropped. So you almost get the look of a 270-degree welt, but it's a 360-degree welt. So they did so many things right with the design on this that it really forgives some of its shortcomings. Now, there are two cons with these boots, the first of which I wish that they were a little bit more supportive. And this could have been accomplished one of two ways, either by making the insole a little bit thicker, putting a few more layers of leather in there, or possibly by using a shank. Now, that would probably put them in the category of more of a utilitarian work boot kind of thing rather than a dress boot. And like I mentioned, these sort of have a foot in both camps here. So I'm sure that was a decision that had to be made, and they erred on the side of dress shoe rather than work boot, but it would have added a little bit extra support. I have high arches, and I wish that was one of the things that I had, was just a little bit more support on the inside. The other con is the price. These are $349. Now, oftentimes with a direct-to-consumer company, you enjoy a little bit of a price break as well as a very good product. So I'm really kind of surprised that they went with such a high price point. I would have expected these to fall somewhere under $300, and at $350 or close enough to it, they really are in the crosshairs of some very, very stiff competition. Now, I think that they stand on their own. They really have a unique design that it's just a wonderful combination of so many things, a really interesting suede that they used to make these, but I wish they were just a little bit more affordable. And finally, how do you take care of waxed suede? We know how to take care of leather. We know how to take care of suede, but how do you take care of waxed suede? Well, I reached out to the people at Taft, and they recommended a very specific product, and that is the Springyard Leather Wax Formula. I also think that you could probably use something like Obanoff's on there, but being that it's an oil-based, it may darken it somewhat. If that's what you're into, and maybe you don't like this color very much, these are in the rust color, by the way, that might not be such a bad thing. So they were very, very transparent with how you should use them and what they actually recommend to treat them. And that's the thing, is you have to watch out for that water resistance. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about these Taft Dragon boots. I think that they're awesome. I think if they just got a few more things tweaked, that they would be some of the best boots on the market. But I'd really be interested in hearing your thoughts on these. I'm sure there are plenty of them, so let me have it in the comments. I'd love to talk to you down there. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you next time.